Gamers, I'm Jason.
I'm Julie.
And today on Dice & Dragons, we are going to be reviewing the Zeo Ranger character pack expansion for Saban's Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid, published by Renegade Games and designed by Jonathan Ying. Now we're also going to be covering the Kickstarter exclusive Gold Ranger that was included during the Phase 2 Kickstarter. I was trying to think of another way to call it, but I'll just call it the Phase 2 Kickstarter. So with that being said, now Julie will tell you more about the game itself.
So this is like the original or base game, a cooperative game that plays 1 to 5 or 1 to 6 players if you have the expansion. Correct?
Like this one. So this is an expansion pack. You do need the base game to play.
Plays in about 45 to 60 minutes.
It's definitely longer than 60 minutes.
Okay, so now for once he's telling me it's longer. Okay, let's call it 45 to 90 because there have been 45-minute games.
There has. It definitely depends on how quickly you're playing, how familiar you are with the characters, but I definitely say it's closer to the 90-minute mark, especially for people that are just getting into the game. One of the last games we played, you were saying, we've been here for like 90 minutes on one turn, yes. But we were playing very, very slow that time. In any case, now just a reminder for those of you that may have not seen anything on Heroes of the Grid, not sure why you're watching this video as it's just about the Zeo Rangers, but thank you for watching anyway.
I was gonna say, why are you asking somebody why they're watching? Maybe instead say, if you're watching this and you haven't watched the other one, then go back and watch the other one.
You know what? That's a great idea. So popping up right above your head, I'd make it pop up in front of her face, but I can't. There'll be a link that will take you back to our original review on how to play for Saban's Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. Now, what are you going to be doing in this game? Well, you will now have the Zeo Rangers, so you will be taking on the bosses and monsters from Heroes of the Grid, as well as their putty patrollers and other types of foot soldiers as you must defend Angel Grove. You will have a command center that will be in the center of the board, and you will move your Rangers from the command center to the board in order to defend the city, defeat the foot soldiers, defeat the monsters, and defeat the boss to save Angel Grove. With that being said, do you think I forgot anything, Julie?
I think that was pretty clear.
So what time is it then?
It's time to grab our drinks.
Time to grab our best friend, and it's not just time to grab our drinks.
We're going to take it to the table.
And take it to the table, but what other time is it? You're going to say it. Yeah, you got to say it. Don't have to yell it, but you have to say it.
It's morphing time?
Oh, come on, better than that.
No, yes. I said it.
That was just weak. It's like not even a regular. You could just go like, it's morphin' time. See, that's better. That's how you do it.
That's your job.
No, you got to do it too.
No, not in the contract.
Now let's take a look at the components in the Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid Zeo Ranger pack, as well as the Kickstarter exclusive Gold Ranger. Now we'll start with just the components that we do not have on camera. So we do have the new rules for the Zeo Rangers, explains how you can gain hit tokens. You also have the introduction on the first part of it, lists the components, tells you how to integrate the expansion, and also the rules to attach energy tokens to the enemies. We'll also take a quick look at the rules for the Gold Ranger. Now you'll notice that it lists here that the Zeo Gold dice that you can see are just for fun. We get 6 of them. They're the same as the dice that you get in the base game. Now, on the front page, it says Go Gold Ranger, lists the components, and explains how to use Zeo Gold's abilities. Now let's take a look at the Rangers themselves. We're going to start with Zeo Ranger 1 Pink, Kat Hillard. So let's take a look at her cards. We've got Dancer's Grace, where she'll gain 1 energy. Look at the top 2 cards of her deck, and then put them back in any order. Disc Throw, where she may play the top card from her deck, then return it to the top of her hand instead of discarding it, and that does 2 die worth of damage. Fire Cloud, which is 3 die worth of damage. If you played it from the top of your deck, you can divide the damage between any 2 adjacent targets and ignore guard. That's cool. Power Disc, a reaction. So you can play this card when any ranger suffers damage, to reduce the damage by 3 and then reflect it at an enemy card of your choice. The Power Pod Sword, now this is in every ranger's deck. So you'll play this card when a ranger performs an attack to add 1 die to the attack, and then the damage may be split up among any number of targets. Her Tai Chi Strike, 2 die. You'll gain an energy for each miss that you get when you roll this attack. If you played it from the top of your deck, you get to add an extra card to it. So pretty cool. So as you can see, you're going to be playing cards from the top of her deck. Now we've got her figure here, Zeo Ranger 1 in pink. Really like the shield, as I mentioned in the unboxing. There's not too much detail on the back of the Rangers, but if you've seen the show and the Zeo Ranger outfits, they're probably the least detailed, except for the intricate pattern, which I have no idea how you paint going around their collars. So let's take a look at her character card, Zeo Ranger 1 pink. Her ability, 1 step ahead. You may look at the top card of your deck at any time, and you can play it as if it was in your hand. So that's a really cool ability. Her Zord is Zeo Zord 1. You will exhaust this card to gain 1 energy, and allow each ranger to look at the top card of their deck. Each ranger may either draw that card, or return it to the top of their deck. I thought it said throw that card away for a second. Now we'll move on to Zeo Ranger 2 Tanya. So we have her ability right here, gaining momentum or maneuver. Gain 1 energy, then any ranger may immediately play 1 card with energy cost of 0. If the card is an attack, you get to add 1 die to that attack. After you roll it, you remove 1 die. So that's her thing, being able to get rid of dice. So let's say you roll 4 die, you only get 2 hits. Well, you can get rid of the 2 dice that are negative. So it just basically gives you more dice to roll. Her chain combo. It is a 3-die attack, and you can remove 1 die from the attack. So you have to remove 1 die from the attack. Intercepting strike or reaction. So when any ranger discards a card for defense, you can then deal that much in damage to an enemy card of your choice. Her big weapon, the Power Double Clubs. 5-die attack. After rolling, you remove 2 dice from this attack. Then you perform a second attack using those 2 die. A Power Pod Sword. Her Rapid Kicks, which is a 4-die attack, but you have to remove 2 dice from it. And that's her deck. So let's take a look at her hero card or ranger card. Her ability is Critical Strike. Once during each attack, so this is going to be in place all the time. If she happens to roll a double hit, you get to add 1 hit to that attack. Her Zord is Zeo Zord 2 yellow. Exhaust this card before any ranger performs an attack, and then you add 3 dice to that attack. Then after rolling, remove 3 dice from the attack. Now we'll take a look at Zeo Ranger 3 blue. So let's take a look at his cards. It's Rocky. So he's got the ability to attach energy token to enemy cards. So the maneuver is choose up to 2 enemy cards and attach 1 energy token to each of them. After you play this card, a ranger gets to play a card immediately, so that's pretty cool. His power axis, 3-die attack, but instead of choosing a target, it deals the full damage to each enemy card that has an energy token on it. Power Pod Sword. His power spin, after you resolve the attack, deal 1 damage to each enemy card other than the target that has at least 1 energy token, so you get to hit for 2, potentially do more. The Reckless Assault. If this attack defeats a target, you may immediately play another card, which is pretty cool. Triple Threat. Before rolling, attach 1 energy token to the target of this attack. There we have it. We've gone through all of Zeo Ranger 3 Blue's cards. Let's take a look at his mini. Now, I don't think his triangle weapons came through as well as some of the other weapons that we see, but you can see a little bit of the intricacies along his chest there. Once again, these aren't the most detailed minis, but that's okay. That's just the costume for the Zeo Rangers. So his ability is called Shot. At the start of each battle, you may attach 1 energy token to an enemy card of your choice. And when an enemy card is defeated, you get to move all of that attached energy into the shared pool, which is pretty cool. And Zeo Zord 3 Blue, you get to exhaust this card to allow 2 different rangers to each choose 1 card from their discard pile and put it back at the top of their deck. Now we're halfway through actually, so we'll take a look at Zeo Ranger 4 Green, Adam Park. We've got Avenging Strike, which lets him spend hit tokens. So that's his thing. He can acquire hit tokens and use them to do extra damage. So you may spend any number of hit tokens to add equal damage to the attack. Charging Strike, 2 hits. You may either gain 1 hit token or spend any number of hit tokens to gain an equal amount of energy, which is pretty cool. The Cross Chop, after you play this card, you may spend 1 hit token to place it on top of your deck. So that's a great way to keep that card around. Not done yet. Gain 1 hit token, and you may immediately play 1 card from your discard pile. Now the star ability, if the card is revealed for defense, you may spend any number of hit tokens to add shields to the card. His Power Hatchets, 4-die attack. You may spend any number of hit tokens to reroll an equal number of dice during this attack. After you perform the attack, you gain 3 hit tokens. And of course, a Power Pod Sword. Now we'll take a look at his hero. So 0 Ranger, 4 green, the Vanguard. Each time an enemy card deals damage, you gain 1 hit token and place it on this card up to a max of 3. And then, as we saw on his cards, you can spend those hit tokens to trigger abilities. Zord, 4 green. Exhaust this card to deal damage to an already resolved enemy card equal to the number of hit tokens on it. So if you put like 3 hit tokens on something, you got that big 6-hit card that you want to get rid of, this Zord will just poof, take it out for you, which is very cool. Now, the leader, the man himself, Tommy Oliver, 0 Ranger, 5 red. Since it's Tommy, we're going to start with his miniature first. I do think, just because I've already seen it, the sword for the red Turbo Ranger is pretty cool, but I do like the Zeo sword as well. He looks great. Let's take a look at the cards. So we got the Flying Power Kick, and all of his cards, well, not all of them, but all of them have those star abilities on them. That's sort of his thing. This card is revealed for defense. The next time any ranger performs an attack during this battle, add 1 die to the attack. Lead by example. You may immediately play another card, then another ranger of your choice may immediately play a card. So that's pretty cool. We have the Power Pod Sword. His Red Riposte as a reaction. Play this card to add 2 shields to a card. If the card is revealed for defense, another ranger of your choice may return the top card of the discard pile to their deck. So I like that. Star Strike. This card is revealed for defense. You gain 1 energy, and it's a 2-die attack. The Red Zeo Battle Sword. After you resolve this attack, reveal up to 2 cards from your hand. Resolve their star abilities as if they were revealed for defense. And we're back at the start with the Flying Power Kick. Now, we've got a few cards underneath Tommy here because, of course, he's got a little bit of extra being the leader. So we've got 0 Ranger, 5 red. Shining Star. Once per battle, you may reveal 1 card from your hand to use the star ability as if it was revealed in defense. Zeozord 5. Exhaust this card. When any ranger discards a card for defense to gain 1 energy, and the ranger can then put that card to the top of their deck. We also have the Kickstarter exclusive Red Zeo Battlezord. Exhaust this card during any ranger turn to perform an attack with 3 die instead of playing a card. And then lastly, the Zeo Megazord, putting all our Zords together. Exhaust this card to place the Megazord token in any location. Then during each battle in the Megazord's location, reduce all energy cost by 1. So that's pretty cool. Lets you play cards a little easier. Now lastly, we go to our 6th Ranger, the Gold Ranger, or if you know O Ranger, King Ranger. I really like that name. This is probably my favorite Ranger design out of all of the series. So we'll start with the mini, the Gold Ranger. He's also going to be available in the Ranger Allies pack coming to retail. Different stance though. So very cool. We've got the Kickstarter exclusive gold dice. I'll just pick them up so you can see. So it's sort of gold. It's a nice mix of, a blackish gold, which goes with the color costume. Now let's take a look at the color of the costume, color scheme. So let's take a look at his cards. The Armored Blow, 2 dice. His Gold Ranger ability. Ranger of your choice may draw 1 card. That ranger may then choose 1 card from their hand and place on the top of their deck. Golden Guard. Play this card when any ranger suffers damage to reduce the damage by 2. You may move 1 hit token from an enemy card to a card of your choice. Kind of cool way to just maybe finish off a card that you just missed. So you may resolve the ability of any of those Golden Staff cards in your discard pile. Also do a 6-die attack typical 6 Ranger. Likes to kick ass. So we've got Gold Rush. We've got 3 dice. We've got the Gold Staff ability, and a ranger of your choice may choose 1 card from their discard pile and shuffle it back into their deck, so that's neat. Inspiring Presence maneuver. After you play this card, another ranger of your choice may immediately play 1 card, and the ability is gain 1 energy. The Lightning Rod, it's a 2-die attack plus 1 damage, and then you get to deal 1 damage to an enemy card of your choice with that Golden Staff ability. So stuff that I really like. And what's nice is we actually have 3 cards here because we have 2 different Rangers. So we've got Tray of Triforia, Zeo Ranger Gold. So each time you play a card in addition to its normal effects, you always resolve the Golden Staff ability. Then you may spend 1 energy to resolve that ability a second time, which is very cool. And then of course, Jason coming back as a Gold Ranger, Heart of Gold. Each time you play a card, in addition to its normal effects, you get to reveal 1 card from your hand and resolve its Golden Staff ability on the revealed card. If you do that, it goes to the bottom of your deck and you get to draw a new card. We also got the Zeozord Pure Midas. So exhaust this card when any ranger reveals a card for defense, add an extra shield. Then you also gain 1 energy and deal 1 damage to an enemy of your choice. So very cool stuff. And there you have it. We've gone through all of the cards. These are your Zeo Rangers. Now keep it right here as Julie and I are going to get back to action and review this Zeo Ranger expansion. So Saban's Power Rangers, Heroes of the Grid, the Zeo Ranger pack, as well as the Gold Ranger pack. What did you think of these 2 additions to the game?
Well, I knew how excited you were about the Gold Ranger because you were really happy when that box was delivered.
Favorite Ranger. Don't ask me why, just love the look, love the design. The Green Ranger, the original with the dragon shield, is awesome, but just that shield on the Gold Ranger and the black and gold, I don't know. Just did something for me when I was younger.
Surprise, surprise, that's one of the ones that Jason picked to play first.
Oh, hell yeah.
So that I wasn't surprised. What I would say, honestly, is I feel that overall, generally speaking, these the powers and the cards for these Rangers are definitely stronger than others.
I definitely would have to agree with you. I mean, if we're going to talk like apples to apples, I still think that as a team, the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers combo incredibly well together, and they might be the most fun team to play. When it comes to like another Ranger team, they don't combo, I find, as well together like the Zeo Rangers, but they have some damn strong abilities just across the board. And if we're going to compare them to the Rangers from Shattered Grid, the Hyperforce Rangers, I don't know. I mean, it's been a while since we played Hyperforce, and the Zeo Rangers showing up means it might be even longer until we play Hyperforce. But Lauren Sheba was fun in the Kickstarter exclusive. She came from...
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, and in this case, the Blue Ranger definitely was fun to play. I know you enjoyed playing the Gold Ranger as well.
Lightning Rod, that card is just too good.
I also enjoyed playing, I think her name was Tanya, the Yellow Ranger.
Yes.
Because she had some pretty good combo cards that you could play one after another to really be able to have an impact.
You also really liked her Zord as well.
Yeah, her Zord was fun too. I didn't play all of the characters. I did play the gold one. I think you had more fun playing the gold one than I did, but he was fun too.
Yeah, there's definitely a specific way to play the Gold Ranger, I find, and you really got to be looking at like the combos and the abilities. So out of all of it's the same with the Red Ranger. I'd say that the Red Ranger and the Gold Ranger are probably the two sort of the most complicated, the less that you're focusing on just playing cards, ones where you really want to play the right sequence of cards because of the way that you can trigger different abilities.
I don't know if the Blue Ranger was fun because he generates a lot of energy.
And I just want to mention something. You would have thought that the Star Ranger is the Red Ranger or the Gold Ranger. No, the Star Ranger of the Zeo Ranger pack is the Blue Ranger. Rocky DeSantos is just like, took the game to another level.
Yeah. I would say I still think I had more fun playing with the combination of the yellow and pink ranger in other versions, and you'd be putting me on the spot. At this point, I wouldn't know which one it was, but I wasn't the biggest fan of the pink ranger in this one.
No, and I'd have to agree with you because we swapped up a few of the characters. So I did get to play the Pink Ranger, and while I do think she can be very powerful, it's you do need the right cards to really cycle the deck, get the right card on top to really exploit her ability. So it's good. She's got a solid deck. She can also generate a fair amount of energy, which I like with some of her cards like Tai Chi Strike and her Power Disc. But I did prefer, like, if we're talking like Pink Ranger to Pink Ranger, both of the Kimberly Hart versions of the Rangers.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Well, she's not a different version. Both of those Pink Rangers, because they're entirely different characters, I felt were better than this one. But that being said, I do think that this version of Cat is much better than the one that is included in the Kickstarter exclusives that just gives you that agile ability. Her Zeo Ranger form is definitely much more fun.
Yeah. So I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed these. I still have to play. I don't think you ever give up the Red Ranger.
I offered to, but you wanted to stick with the Blue Ranger because you like being the battery pack for the entire team.
Well, you should be happy. Normally, I like to just be the one that like does massive damage. So
Yes. Well, I think you like the Blue Ranger because you could do massive damage and be the battery pack. And then when you get the Zeo
that's right.
Megazord.
I'm forgetting. There's a couple of times I knocked. There's a couple of cards of his that are pretty strong where
Yes.
I managed to basically knock out 3 of the 4
Well,
boss cards.
Well, you had 4 energy on 4 different boss cards. Plus, we boosted your attack, so we were able to make a massive hit on 4 cards at once. So, yeah, Rocky was definitely the strongest Ranger in Ranger combo. I would say this solo wise, just to talk about the Gold Ranger, they were awesome because you got Jason as well as Treev Triforia. They play only slightly different, not enough to really say that it's a big difference. The advantage with Jason, though, is that you do get to cycle your deck, whereas with Trey, you know what cards you have and what you're triggering. So it's cool, and I do like the fact that you get both of those characters. So let's talk a little bit about the Zords. I think we've talked about primarily, well, we haven't talked about the Red or the Green Ranger, so we'll just talk a little bit about the character specifics. If you want to see a little bit more detail, jump back to the components. If you skipped ahead to the review, we cover it all in detail there. Tommy's ability is his star ability, which is pretty cool, which means when you reveal a card for defense, you can trigger some special abilities. You also get to trigger 1 just during your turn, which I thought was very cool. We mentioned with the Pink Ranger that hers is very deck specific because she plays from the top of her deck. We talked about the Yellow Ranger and her combos. Do you want to talk about her dice and her mechanic there? We already talked about Rocky.
The Yellow Ranger just allows you to add dice and then remove the dice that you don't like. So it kind of mitigates a bad roll. Well, not if you roll all snake eyes. Then,
Yes.
Then or a critical failure, then it doesn't help you, but it does help mitigate a potentially bad roll. So it did remove a little bit of the risk.
And the neat thing with the Gold Ranger is he always gets to trigger some type of extra ability, which can be very useful and very powerful. And then we're talking lastly about Adam Park, the Green Ranger. And I would have to say, like, his Zord, he's probably got the best Zord out of all of them. We'll talk more about that in detail in just a second. But I didn't love his ability with the hit tokens. You do get a lot of flexibility with them, but I always found it very difficult because, well, he has some strong defense cards. He has a lot of weak ones as well. So trying to have him take hits to build those hit tokens can often leave you in a very bad position where you've cycled through a lot of your deck. And probably my least favorite of all the Rangers to play. So why don't we talk about the Zords and then we'll get to our final review.
Yeah, the pink Zord basically is a little bit of a copy of the power that the Pink Ranger has in this. That basically it allows all players to look at the top card of their deck and decide if they want to leave it there or if they want to put it into their hand, which can be neat. If you're about to do an attack to see if you can get a better attack card. The Yellow Ranger's Zord is probably my favorite Zord because it allows you to add 3 dice to an attack and then remove 3 dice, any 3 dice from an attack. So again, mitigates a bad roll and allows you to pick the highest ones, basically. The blue Zord,
That was good too, getting to put that discarded card back into the...
two players basically, two rangers can put any card from their discard pile back into their deck. So that's
on the top of their deck.
And I only got to play once with the gold Zord, so I can't. Oh yes, it was adding.
Add a shield, gain an energy, which you also gain with the pink Zord as well, and you get to deal 1 damage to an enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Now we had the red Zord, which was pretty cool, which was one that lets you take a discarded defensive card and add it to your hand. You also get to gain an energy, which was really neat. There was the red Battle Zord, which was a Kickstarter exclusive. So that was cool because it let you make a 3-die attack without playing a card. So the way that we often used it was in smaller confrontations. It was a great way to not spend the card, keep some of those resources, maybe take out 1 or use it during a battle with only 2 enemies, because you can then move on and join a bigger fight with most of your hand still intact. We also had Zeo Zord 4, probably the strongest Zord out of all of them, where what you're able to do is you deal damage to an enemy card that is resolved equal to the amount of damage that is already on it. So if you have a boss card that's 6 health, got 3 health of damage on it, you don't have to come back and try to kill it. You can just knock it off towards the end if you need to. So that was... very cool. I'm trying to think if there's anyone I didn't talk about. No, we both had the gold Zord.
Well, the Mega Zord basically in this one.
Yes, the Mega Zord.
Which came out,
We forgot to use it the first time it came out.
The first time it came out, we used it the first moment it came out on the first card, and then forgot. And then I think a couple times while we were playing, it just, because you're doing the battle for so long, I guess we forget that it removes, basically all it does is removes by 1 or reduces by 1 the cost of every card you play.
Which you think wouldn't be as good as it is. It was so good. I mean, with the Zeo Rangers, I guess it kind of works like, they powered up, they got the Zeo Crystal. Energy was never a problem in this game. And it was a lot of fun, actually. So I'll be interesting to see what happens. We've seen some announcements for some of the new stuff that is coming. There's going to be a new villain pack, the Machine Empire. We've got Power Rangers Rise of the Psycho Rangers, the next Kickstarter coming for the game. So it'll be interesting to see how these Rangers pair off against some potentially stronger enemies. So that being said, Julie, I think we've talked a lot about the Zeo Rangers. What do you give this expansion?
So I'm going to answer the other question first. No, I'll give it a rating, but I want you to let me finish with a caveat that I want to put on it. It's a 7. However, and I had a lot of fun playing it, and I thought they were fun. However, the perspective I'll give of somebody who enjoys playing the Power Ranger game, I don't know that this is necessary unless you're as big a fan as Jason is to want to have all of the different expansions. It might be, if you're going to, my opinion, base plus of any of one of the expansions, I'd pick this expansion. But I don't know that you need multiple expansions like we have.
Well, I'd have to disagree with you on that, because if there's any one expansion you need to get the most out of the game, because let's be honest, right now there's a serious lack of foot soldiers, it's the Kickstarter exclusives. Like, that box is the best box you can get. But I'd probably say, and we haven't gone through playing the Tommy Oliver pack and some of the other ones, but I will agree with you, if you're looking for that smaller expansion to the game that's going to add a lot more fun, and I actually prefer this over Shattered Grid. The only advantage of Shattered Grid is more enemies. So if you're just looking for Rangers, you're not looking for enemies, I'd agree with you. This is the expansion to pick up. It's probably going to have that better price point. But Shattered Grid and the Kickstarter exclusives gives you more Rangers and more enemies. So you'll probably get a little bit more bang for your buck. But pack-wise, I agree. Also, you don't get the Zeo Gold character pack. He will be coming to retail in the Ranger Allies pack to be released later on this summer.
So, on that note, time to remind people that they can...
I didn't even get to give my review.
Oh,
I just
sorry.
got to talk about it. So, I think I've said enough about it already. I don't think I need to go into more detail how I feel about it. I give this an 8, but there is a caveat. If you were buying this in retail, it would be a 7, because you would only be getting the Zeo Rangers, and for me, getting the Gold Ranger pack, getting the other 6 colored dice, getting both cards, it boosted a full point for me. But if you're just buying it, in retail, it's a 7. So we're pretty much on the same page, but the Gold Ranger is my favorite Ranger. So nostalgia boost.
There you go. So now it's time to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when we have some new content for you.
Also, don't forget that down below in the video description, you'll find links to all of our social media feeds, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can see plenty of pictures of Saban's Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. We like to try to review multiple expansions at the same time. We get new Rangers, we get new enemies. So plenty of stuff for you to take a look at there. And also popping up in front of us shortly are going to be links to some of our previously released content. One will take you back to our most recent video. The other will take you back to our review and how to play of Saban's Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. Now, Julie, what time is it?
It's time to grab our drinks.
Oh. Grab our best friend.
And we're going to keep playing games.
Definitely going to keep playing this one. We're going to keep shouting. Well, I'm going to keep shouting at least. It's morphin' time!
Oh, I thought you were going to say you're going to shout, "Go, go, Power Rangers."
We can do that too. You want to take it out with me? Come on 3. 1, 2, 3. Go, go, Power Rangers!
Can't believe the things you make me do.